Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, I can't wait to come
He'll just
back.
be just down the road. Yeah.
Welcome to the public meeting of the Princeton Board of Education. The board is an elected, unpaid group of 10 citizens who set policy and make decisions on educational, financial, and personnel matters for the Princeton Public Schools on behalf of all residents. We're always pleased when members of the community attend our meetings. The board and the school district operate under applicable New Jersey laws and under regulations of the New Jersey State Board of Education. Each meeting includes an opportunity for those attending to comment on items on the published agenda or other matters of interest to them. The board reserves the right to limit the time allotted to public participation. Law limits discussion of individual, personnel, and confidential matters. We hope our meetings provide useful opportunities for communication between the board and the community. Thank you for attending.
As required under the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 1046 et sequentia, adequate notice was given for calling this meeting. It was authorized by the Board of Education and forwarded to the municipal clerk, Princeton Packet, and the Trenton Times on January 6, 2023, and distributed to the schools and others on the standard distribution list. The board reserves the right to enter into executive session during all meetings of the Board of Education. Board Policy 168, recording devices, requires that we inform those attending this meeting that the proceedings are being recorded. This meeting is being live streamed. Public members who wish to make comments at the appropriate time, as noted in the agenda or added by the presiding officer, shall be asked to approach the podium and make comments. The representative of the sending district is authorized to vote on such matters that affect sending district students or affect the governance of the Princeton Public Schools, as more specifically designated in NJSA 18838.1. In the event this statute is amended, the law shall take precedence over this bylaw. Sending district votes pertaining to personnel actions refer to high school, central administrative, and district-wide staff only. Votes otherwise are considered abstentions.
Thank you, Mr. Bolden. Would you please call the roll?
Surely. Daphne Kendall,
Here.
Betsy Baglio,
Here.
Beth Barron,
Here.
Debbie Bronfeld,
Here.
Jean Durbin,
Present.
Mara Franceschi,
Here.
Susan Cantor,
Here.
Brian McDonald,
Present.
Rob Christopher.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Bolden. Can I get a motion now for adoption of the minutes for April 25th, 2023? Beth, second. Mara?
Daphne Kendall,
Yes.
Betsy Baglio,
Yes.
Beth Barron,
Yes.
Debbie Bronfeld,
Yes.
Jean Durbin,
Yes.
Mara Franceschi,
Yes.
Susan Cantor,
Yes.
Brian McDonald,
Yes.
Rob Christopher.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Bolden. Can I get a motion now for adoption of the minutes for May 2nd, 2023? Jean, second. Rob?
Daphne Kendall,
Yes.
Betsy Baglio,
Yes.
Beth Barron,
Yes.
Debbie Bronfeld,
Yes.
Jean Durbin,
Yes.
Mara Franceschi,
Yes.
Susan Cantor,
Yes.
Brian McDonald,
Abstain.
Rob Christopher.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Bolden. So I'd just like to welcome everyone to our meeting today, everyone here and those watching at home. It's been a rough few weeks, I think, for the district, and hopefully we're moving into our year-end celebrations. We will have a lot to celebrate in the upcoming meetings of all the great things our students are doing. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Kelly for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Board President Kendall. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tonight's superintendent's report. I'd like to encourage, and I know that the board does this always, that there are a lot of concerts and art shows that are coming up at our schools. And given our date, I will just announce a few dates. At Community Park, we have the choral concert on May 30th, and their art show is taking place on June 7th, if you want to mark that down. At Johnson Park, May 25th is their art show and spring choral concert. At Littlebrook, May 25th is their art show. And at Riverside, unfortunately, we've passed the date for their art show and choral concert. Our district elementary strings concert is going to take place on June 1st. And at the middle school, we have tonight, it looks like, the Spring Jazz Bands concert. And at the high school coming up, we have students who are participating in Art Jam 2023. And on May 31st is the awards night. And in June, we have the Studio Band Annual Concert on June 3rd, the New Jersey Governor's Award in Arts Education. We have 3 high school recipients are taking place on June 2nd. June 8th is the Choral Cabaret Night. June 9th is the annual Student Art Show. And June 10th is the Jazz Ensemble Big Band Dance. So in addition to all of the wonderful year-end events that are coming up, on tonight's agenda, I wanted to share with the board that we also are launching officially our full strategic plan. And Mr. Bolden, I'm going to share my screen. It's PPS. It's not working. Oh, you see it? The password isn't working. Okay. Oh, it's working.
Great.
You see it?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So this evening, I'd like to officially launch our strategic plan. Sure. All right.
Raise it up some,
Sure.
enlarge it.
Mhm.
Yeah, enlarge it.
All right. So this strategic plan will eventually be placed on our district's website. We had launched previously the Reader's Digest version, but this full version includes information regarding the process, demographic data of the district, and also it includes those committees that contributed to the plan and each of the dates. We still have to include the final date that the board approved the plan. We started by using data and analyzing the data, and from that analysis, we determined eventually what our goals would be. You will see in this version of the strategic plan a summary of the data that we collected from the student survey data to the data that was provided to us via student testing results. There's a reminder of how the framework of our strategic plan works. Everything we believe is all about student learning, and that the practices that the adults do in the school district, as well as the supporting conditions that the district provides, will enable us to reach those student learning goals that are outlined in this plan. So the plan also consists of the strategic actions or strategies. There are 4 different areas or pillars, as they are called, and it outlines for each of the goals our promise, our portrait of a graduate, and for each goal, you will see the measurable objectives as well as the starting data. So where we will go from here is that each of our schools will be completing an action plan for the upcoming school year using the goals that are in our strategic plan. As an example, I have the template here from Community Park School. Our principal and her leadership team will be looking at their specific data. And for each of the strategic goals that are best aligned to be completed at the elementary level, those teams will be selecting an annual improvement target whereby they will select a measurable target. They will also, based on the target that they want for student learning, they will determine what are the professional practices from our strategic plan. What are the educational strategies? And what are the professional learning and collaboration learning opportunities that would best support our accomplishment of their student target? So I encourage our board and also our community to please look forward to the end of the school year. We will be completing these plans, finalizing them over the summer, and we hope to launch them at our first equity committee meeting in the fall. I believe that's September the 18th, if I'm not mistaken. And we will be doing that for each one of our schools. So that concludes my superintendent report for the evening. Do you have any questions? Thank you. Go ahead, Deb. Go ahead, Deb.
So obviously we'll, launch it and everything at the equity meeting. And then in December, would we see some starts of goals and I'm not saying you're meeting every goal, but just kind of some measures?
Yes, that is an excellent question. Yes, we plan to monitor and share the results from our action plan to the community. So hi Kim, Dr. Tu, at the, I forgot the question. Okay. Oh, at the December report. Yes. So we will have mid-year and end-of-year results that we will share out with the board based on our district collective action plan. And my hope is that the school level will be sharing information from their action plans with their school communities as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Did you have anything else?
Mm-mm.
That's the end of your report. Okay. Thank you. Moving on now to Andre Penn and Rohan Chavette for their student board members report. Did you want your email projected?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just give us a second.
Who's projecting it? Matt. They just sent us an email now? Yeah. Can you project the email?
It's
Yeah, we were just following up on the future liaison guide that we talked about in the past meeting. So we had kind of just completed our draft, and we want to just get your guys' comments or on it.
it's from the email from Rohan. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So basically, like as we talked about before, this is just to serve as a more structured and formalized guide for the newly elected liaisons that hopefully would be something that's continued in continuing years. And so just to give some clarity about what the role is, what their responsibilities are, and what they can expect to do as liaisons. And so we really wanted to make it concise and like, I guess like deliver just what the key points and responsibilities of the job are.
Yeah, so first we went through like the role and the responsibilities, just because we really felt like there was no like clear cut any description on what we were supposed to do. So even though these are kind of general, we still feel like they can tell future liaisons what they're trying to do. So for their role, just like giving a voice to the students, but also communicating from the board to the students, not just from the students to the board, and also reporting to the board on school events. And for responsibilities, we also feel like the liaisons should try to survey the student body like we did in December to find their views on whatever issues that the liaisons think are important, or that the students voice as well, and also making presentations based on these surveys.
Yeah, and then one thing that we found was part of our role was also working with people like at the high school, like the principal or Miss Ligas or any other leaders in the high school to accomplish some of our goals, like with the poster that we did. And so like it's not just about working with the board; it's about working with lots of leaders in the district. And then also we just briefly summarize like some like potential mistakes or things like that they should the new liaisons should avoid doing, like surprising the board, or just like only doing work, only showing up to meetings and not really doing anything else outside of the meetings, or taking on a task that's too gargantuan, and really hopefully will just focus on something that's more targeted and something that they can feasibly accomplish in a short period of time.
And then below that, we tried to put some of the past ones that like we did because we started, and then also ideas for future ones because it was like hard to like when we started to really know like what we could do or what we couldn't do. So we listed like kind of the main things that we did this year so far.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, we also like we might list more, but we want this to be kind of just be like a live document that can continue to be updated. So like next year's liaisons can maybe put what they've done and also put ideas that maybe they didn't get to for the upcoming ones to finish, so that there's no like yeah.
That's basically it. So
That's your report. Thank you so much. It's very impressive, and you clearly have been thinking about how to do your roles most effectively, and you've been very effective. And we're really proud of you. And you just work well with everyone, but you still are a voice for the students. So we really appreciate you both.
Thank you.
We'll miss you.
Thank you.
Yep.
thank you.
But one more meeting, right? One more
Right.
meeting.
Yeah.
And but I did just realize it's our last time with them here in person. We're on Zoom next month. So we could take a few moments to tell you. I mean, really, you've been wonderful leaders, and we'll do it again next month.
We might have to do it next month because there are parting gifts.
Oh,
So-
right. We'll keep the gifts.
Yes.
But we're very, very proud of you. And you've set I think you just said this, a very high bar for those who follow you. One note, if another idea that came from student representatives many years ago now was the idea of an earlier start time for the high school. I'm sorry, a later start time for the high school. And that was implemented because of the words that we heard from student board reps such as yourselves, advocating for something that was truly important to the student body, bringing research. So we can give you, I can't remember what year it
It was,
was, but we can give you
20
those.
It was 2017.
Those names.
2017, the board.
But this is a terrific resource. And when are the elections for the people to replace you?
Should be June. Last year it lined up around the same time as the last board meeting, because I remember
Right.
we came to the last board meeting last year.
Yeah.
But they might, we heard from Jennifer
Thank
Lee,
you.
who's going to be the new liaison, and she was thinking she wanted to get the ninth graders involved, so she might do it in September
Oh,
before, she just reached out to us, so the whole school would pick them, and
So
stay
tuned.
Yeah.
wow, great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate your work.
Okay, moving on now. We're moving on to public comment on any item. So far, Judy Cooten is the only one who signed up, so please come to the podium, just state your name, the street you live on, the town you live in. And please try to keep your comments civil and to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy Cooten, Magnolia Lane, Princeton. I've been living with my family in the district for 21 years now. We have 3 children, one in middle school, one in high school, and one alum. And me personally, I am a certified math teacher. I've taught for the last 21 years in both public schools and private schools here in New Jersey. And I want to address the board members. I know 7 of you personally. And I've spoken with, my children have gone to school with 7 of you. So I know you all, and you all know me. And let's be honest about the last 2 years in this district. there have been two major debacles that have cost us in this district thousands upon thousands of dollars of legal fees, consultant fees, PR fees, and more important than that, thousands of hours of your time and the community's time. We had last year a math debacle, and I'm going to use the word debacle, and this year, the principal debacle. And we cannot avoid being honest about this at this point. There is one common denominator. And you all know exactly what I mean. You cannot explain this away anymore, nor make excuses for the last 2 years of our district. I know that you Board of Education members, again, who I know personally, want to do what's best for the district. So please clean up this mess. We've already had 2 miserable years. We can't have more of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other community members who would like to speak at public comment right now? No. Okay. Okay, so we're moving on now to the harassment, intimidation, and bullying. I think that's an action item. Can I get a motion, please? Brian, second. Beth?
Daphne Kendall,
Yes.
Betsy Baglio,
Yes.
Beth Barron,
Yes.
Debbie Bronfeld,
Yes.
Jean Durbin,
Abstain.
Mara Franceschi,
Yes.
Susan Cantor,
Yes.
Brian McDonald,
Yes.
Rob Christopher.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Then we have the HIB report card 2122. Is that also an action item?
No.
Does anyone want that to be an action item? Okay. Moving on now to board committee highlights, and we're going to start with long-term planning with co-chairs Beth Barron and Brian McDonald.
Thank you. I'll take it. Thanks, Brian. If I leave anything out, let me know. The long-term facilities planning committee met in public on the 18th of May with administration planners and approximately 30 parents. We focused on elementary capacity planning challenges. We discussed the background and history of the planning effort, and we talked about the process and of how we are obtaining input from stakeholders, educators, and other professionals, our outside professionals. Throughout the summer, we're going to continue that process with the goal of a late summer, early fall decision on the elementary option. Again, this was kind of a very good back and forth discussion meeting where we heard from a lot of parents and we talked through some issues that are continually to be challenging to us, but we're looking at them from many angles. We discussed the importance of ensuring that the ultimate solution be affordable, both in terms of capital cost and operating budget. It was emphasized that the district is facing some difficult financial choices going forward, given the 2% cap on operating budget year to year, with costs rising significantly faster. We spoke about planning parameters, including class size target ranges for planning purposes and how the DLI program factors into the models and how we model costs going forward so that we're able to make some intelligent choices. We heard from parents on all of these things. We look forward to hearing about how the various solutions or options would support strategic plan goals on June 5th. We're having a meeting at the PHS. Is it in the auditorium or is it the cafeteria? Cafeteria. It's a public meeting at 6:30 p.m. and we invite the public to attend. Our next meeting of the committee will be closed on June 12th at 10:30 a.m. We hope to kind of vary them being closed and open going forward and have other opportunities for public comment. So we look forward to more meetings and hearing from parents over the next months.
Thank you, Beth. Did you mention the June 5th meeting?
Yes.
You did. Okay. And that's going to be at the high school
High
cafeteria?
school cafeteria, 6:30 p.m. on June 5th.
Okay. That's great.
And can I just add that with respect to the options, the 4 options that are out there, we observed that there was emerging consensus that the status quo really wasn't an option, and suggest on behalf of the committee that we add to the list of options and looking into, again, the possibility of a grade 5-6 school. There's not a recommendation that we should have one, just a suggestion that since that had been thoroughly studied several years ago, that we should get the administration's feedback and our educators' feedback on the pluses and minuses of that model.
And do you think we need an updated survey then to go out to the community, the elementary community at some point?
I think if we could narrow the options a bit further, it would be great to resurvey and take advantage of some of our parents and experts in the community who have offered to help design a survey.
That'd be great. And I think we'd want to get it out before school ends. So it's going to be tight, right?
I think we want to be cautious and make sure what we get out is what we want and
Right.
it's complete and that we've heard from people and we structure it properly. But we definitely want to keep hearing from people in different ways. And it's been great. People have been coming to meetings, they've been writing to us. We had the survey, but that survey gave us kind of preliminary information and there's a lot of reasons it's not really complete. That it wasn't in Spanish. There's many people it didn't really go to. But at some point we need to do a survey for the whole community so all the stakeholders can have a say. But we're evolving and we're working with our planner who says, don't rush, make sure we're examining because we haven't made choices yet. So we really want to hear from people and we don't want people to think we've made decisions before we have because we haven't. We're still listening and thinking. So we've got a lot of work to do.
And one of the challenges is that each of the options come with different costs, both capital costs and operating budget costs or benefits. And it's going to take a little while for our team of professionals to analyze those. And that's very important information to have so we don't ask for people's preferences in a vacuum.
Right.
And as Beth notes, or has noted in the past, only between 20 and 25% of our residences have school-age children in them. And so a large majority are people without school-age children. And whatever we do will almost certainly involve going to referendum. So we need to know more about that before we do our public surveying.
Okay. So do we think early fall is realistic?
More realistic, yes.
Is more realistic?
Yes.
Okay. No, but I thought we were going to have some kind of recommendation.
No, not yet.
When,
We're
what's the deadline for, what's the time
I
frame
think
for
late
that?
summer, early fall is the target for making a decision on which way we go in the elementary. We're not there yet.
Late summer, early fall. But that's why I'm saying we might have to push it back if we're going to do a second survey in early fall.
I'm not sure when we do the survey, but yeah, we're not going to, we can't rush it, but we also have to be mindful of what the timing is.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Jean?
Thanks. I just wanted to thank you both, Beth and Brian, for your leadership on this. It's been really wonderful. And I wanted to echo support for as many in-person meetings as we can possibly have. The last one was Zoom, and it was also very, very helpful, but nothing beats sitting around a table face-to-face with your neighbor and talking through the issues. So I really love that process, and thank you for leading it so well. I wondered if you could just list the options. You may have said it in your report, but I'm not sure. Can you just, in case anybody's listening or watching, what are our 4 options that we're considering?
Brian?
The first option was the status quo, do nothing. And for a number of reasons, that's just not possible. The second option was what the planners called the 370 option, which would be to redistrict so that there are approximately 370 students at each of the 4 schools with some very modest room for growth. The third option was to significantly expand capacity at 1 or 2 schools. Was that?
Sister school.
Oh, the sister school model. I'm sorry. The sister school model is currently not getting a lot of love.
No.
But our planners feel strongly that it has several advantages, and we want to hear from our educators before we make decisions about removing any of the options. So we recommend eliminating the status quo and adding the 5-6 school. And the goal would be to get down to 3 and preferably 2 options before we do our surveying. I'd also note that we have had meetings. the administration and some board members with 3 of the 4 elementary school PTOs and parents. And those are well attended and there's been very active participation. And the one remaining is at CP on June 2nd, which several of us will be attending. And that's just a few days before the all hands meeting on June 5th at 6:30.
And is that 8:30 a.m., the CP meeting?
8:30 a.m.
Okay.
Can I ask something? The 370 would be pre-K through 5.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I just want to make sure I understood.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Anyone else?
And I would just note that having gone to the 3 PTO meetings so far, every group of parents seems to feel that their elementary school is the best one, which I walk away thinking that's high praise.
Yep.
And they want to change as little as possible, but they are concerned about growing current high class sizes and the potential for growth.
We've had great engagement, very thoughtful comments. People are really getting their minds around it in a helpful way. So I look forward to continuing. And I do think we have to have a number of more in-person sessions to kind of think everything through together.
Okay, thank you. Next up is personnel with Debbie Braunfeld and Mara Franceschi.
Thank you. The Personnel Committee met on May 4th. Human Resources is working on another job fair. We also discussed how Human Resources is working on summer orientation already for new staff. And we also discussed many other personnel issues. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie. And I skipped over operations. I apologize. And that's with co-chair Susan Cantor and Brian McDonald.
Brian is a very good delegator today, so I'm going to do the report. He can fill in with any comments as needed. First, I know the Operations Committee wants to thank Matt Bolden and Dave Harding. We had a wonderful visit on site at 6 schools on Monday to inform us as we do our work. It seemed like so far away. It was yesterday morning. It really was helpful for the Operations Committee to both have a back and forth feedback, to see projects that are upcoming this summer, projects that are already been completed, and projects that they're considering for upcoming referendum work. So I thought it was a great engagement, and also thank the people who we ran into at schools who were very helpful and informative when we were stopping by. Our last Operations Committee meeting was on May 10th at 8 a.m. It began in open session. We heard about the summer work that was going to be started coming up on this coming referendum. And then we also, as we always do, discuss sustainability. The highlights were talking about the Eco Lab and a change in the way that work will be managed, with Mr. Smirk and Dr. Barnes-Johnson of the high school taking a much more prominent role in the management of that area, working with the facilities people in district and some very active volunteers who have been very helpful with their comments. We also heard from Sustainable Princeton, and one of the things they were talking about is once again looking into community charging stations and fueling grants for our teachers that drive, so that we can perhaps someday have charging stations available so that more of our teachers can use electric vehicles in the future. And then Matt presented a new shared service contract on our bus maintenance that will hopefully save us both in time and in money next year. So he's going to go a different direction with how we've been doing our bus maintenance. If this all sounds exciting to you, our next meeting will be May 31st at 8 a.m. and it's always open. The first part is always open to the public with a nice public comment section, and it's usually a chance for some interchange of ideas. So we welcome you to attend. We do have a lot of fun at these meetings.
Thank you, Susan. Next up is policy with co-chairs Beth Barron and Jean Durbin.
Thanks, President Kendall. The Policy Committee met on May 12th. Just going to lead with the next date, which is a date change, is June 5th. Monday, June 5th at 8:15 in the morning is our next meeting. We discussed the policies that are up for first read on this evening's agenda, about a half dozen of those. And we also discussed advocacy for staffing shortfalls. And good news to report, our own Beth Barron is now an executive board member of the Garden State Coalition of Schools, which is a big win for Princeton and a big win for the state because it's an advocacy group. And we're really looking forward to your work there, Beth, and congratulations.
Okay, and finally, student achievement with Betsy Baglio.
Thank you. We met May 5th at 11:30 a.m. Dr. Barnes-Johnson attended to talk about some changes to the Science Bridge summer program and also a PUMA program that is funded by Princeton University, which they provide great options to our kids. We have a change for the PHS program of studies. There's an engineering offering that will be going from a full year course to 2 semester-long courses to hopefully we'll be able to include some more students in those. We spoke about a food service. This is a topic that's come up recently, and it is a topic we've discussed in student achievement because there are great links between health and wellness and learning. We are in our 5th year, is that correct, Matt, of our provider? This is next year is our 5th year. Thank you. So we have 1 more year before then. Oh, and it's on the agenda to renew it. So there we have it. It's on the agenda to renew for next year. Thank you. We have the approval of a Teen Pep overnight trip, which is on our agenda. That's a annual training trip for our students. And then Dr. Tu presented an update on the math review that will be taking place, actually starting to take place now. So join us. Our next meeting, I believe, is June 10th, but I'm going to check right now. And we welcome the public.
It's like a Saturday.
I'm sorry. June 2nd. June 2nd. I'm usually very good with dates, but not today. June 2nd, 11:30. Thank you.
Thanks, Betsy. Okay, and now I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Kelly.
I apologize. We actually have guests this evening. So the board knows that one of the key metrics that we look at each month is our percentage of students who come to school each month more than 90% of the instructional days. The reason why this is such an important metric is it is the number one thing that we could do for free that helps to improve student achievement. But it also is a very strong indicator at the elementary level, and elementary in our jargony world of educators is pre-K 8. It's a very strong indicator for students being prepared for and graduating on time. As I was recently looking at our data for this school year, I noticed that our middle school has a very interesting trend. They have been trending well above 80%. So each month, more than 80% of our middle schoolers are attending school 90% or more instructional days each month. January, 86%, February, 83%, March, 86%, April, 84.2%. So I've asked Principal Burr and Assistant Principal Latimer if they would not mind coming to just share like what some of their success strategies have been, and they have agreed to do so.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's nice to see all of you. It's always a pleasure to get the opportunity to speak about how proud we are of our students and our staff. To the point that you just made, I think kids are enjoying coming to school. The numbers are starting to trend upward, as you said. There are whole hosts of reasons why I think this is the case. I'm going to let Ms. Latimer start with a few things that we've been doing this year to kind of bring those numbers up. I think it's exciting. I at all of the concerts, ball games, things that we attend, the thing that I always say is we're creeping closer back all the time to the way we're used to doing business and the things that we do best. So let's talk about a few of those things that we think we've done that's been successful this year, Ms. Latimer.
Sure. So one of the things that we do is that they've always done is the auto-generated letters, and the auto-generated letters go out at increments or intervals, like first one goes out 4 days, and the next one goes out when you meet that 8th day threshold. And at that 8th day threshold, you also get a request for a meeting with administration. So we can figure out some ways that we can support you and give you some tips on how to get your child to school every day and on time. And then we have one that goes out at 12 days. We also have something that we call Find Your Streak initiative, because if you didn't know, a group of tigers is called a streak. So finding your streak is really like is our play on finding your tribe. And the way that we do that is we have over 36 different clubs and activities at the middle school. Most recently, we added volleyball and cheerleading for the fall, so that students can find something that they can connect with, engage with, find their groups of students that they really are having an affinity for, or just exploring something new that they may not have thought they were interested in. And we know that when students are connected with clubs and activities, they also are increasing in their academic achievement. We also expanded our cultural heritage observances. So we were really tapping into our school-wide goal of increasing students' abilities to feel seen. So we've done Hispanic Heritage Month, MLK Jr. National Day of Service observant. Our Lunar New Year was really a big one this year. We even had, the cafeteria get involved and had different foods throughout that time. We had the Paul Robeson Day of Play. We had Black History Month, Women's History Month, Jewish American History Month. Right now, we're in API, our Asian American Pacific Islander History Month. And during Ramadan, we provided support to our students so that while they were fasting, they had a nice place to stay if they didn't want to be in the cafeteria. We also provided a really nice place for them to do their midday prayers as well. We increased our student voice by having the Principals Council, and that has 14 students from all 3 grade levels, and they represent the population. So we have students that are special education students, African American students, Asian American, Pacific Islander students, Hispanic American students also are represented there.
I want to personally thank Ms. Latimer for elevating the number of ways that we're trying to connect with diverse voices and with all people in our school. It's something that I think you've done extraordinarily well in your first year at Princeton Middle School. When I think about just this month, right now in our 8th grade, I think about Mr. and Mrs. McCann tomorrow are going to be leading for civics, their Civics in Action projects. At the same time, our science teachers, Bill Merritt, Janet Gaudino, Jen Simon, are leading the cardboard boat regatta. So if you're an 8th grader and you're not at school, these 2 end of year projects have the possibility of moving on like without you. So like you've got to get on the boat, so to speak. But tomorrow we're inviting families. Again, think about the way things have changed over the last couple of years. We're back to inviting people in. Today, our PTO gave the 8th grade their monthly treat, and they actually shared food from the AAPI community as a way of kind of highlighting that in addition. But it's the welcoming way that our families and our parents have kind of galvanized this year to make sure that our 8th graders are feeling special about themselves, but also it's a presence in the school. So those doors have been thrown back open. And just really proud of my staff, because I think that, we say all the reasons that kids are coming to school are probably as unique as our students and their interests. There's so much that we're offering, and we're back to providing those things. And it feels really good. I think it feels really good to kids. Just tonight, we're closing down our jazz band concert. We have a jazz band concert going on in the building right now. So these celebrations of our kids and their achievements, the putting forward being a lifelong learner. I think kids are all the way back in. And also special shout out to our families who have been so supportive of us and getting kids to school. And it's been important. Kids get a number of emotional supports. Our school counselors have been fabulous. I think kids come to school to see their friends. They come to school to see their teachers and counselors. They come to school to learn. They come to school to do activities. Princeton Middle School is a thriving place, and it's due to my staff and my students and my family. So really just very grateful for all of those things and the number of supports and the way that all of you have supported our efforts to build in additional help and assistance for our kids who need that as well. So I think we're another year on the road back, and we already have, as I saw at the beginning tonight, we're talking about goals for next year. We already have that 1 foot in the next year. How do we build in a little bit more as we move forward? So it's exciting.
Can I just say a very brief word? My family's about to take our last lap through Princeton Middle School. And this is a time, I'm a little emotional. I didn't expect that. This is a time of year where there's lots of goodbyes being said. And so as a parent, I know, I'm sorry. I think I'm a little more emotional about the middle school moving on, even more than my high school senior graduating. But honestly, 8th grade, it has been a wonderful year for these kids. And I want to thank both of you and your staff for the enthusiasm that you've shown them and the creative ways that you've really brought them back into school. So I appreciate that very much and love hearing from you and hearing all of the great things in the school. So thanks very much.
You can stay if you want, Mrs. Baglio. You don't have to go.
I think it's time it's time to move
But,
on. Thank you.
Mr. Burr, I also wanted to say thank you on behalf of the board. I know this year you did with the in combination with the PTO, you took the 8th grade to Hamilton. And so it was very nice to see field trips start up again, but we heard how meaningful it was for some of those kids. So thank you for doing that. We appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you for supporting it. Yeah. Thank you. Great pleasure to see all of you. Thanks. Thanks.
Okay, moving on now, back to the agenda. K1, policies for first reading. And then I'll go through the personnel agenda. Please stop me if anyone has anything they'd like to say. L1 retirements, L2 resignations, L3 appointments. Okay.
So I had sent an email to Dr. Kelly and under appointments 2023, 2024, the first and the third.
Oh.
And I had heard back that these are new positions. And so both of these are being paid through funds that Dr. Tu and Valerie have in their budgets. Okay. Oh, okay. So it doesn't say grant on there. Okay. So it's all coming from the preschool?
It's the state preschool program that's been around, preschool education assistance aid.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's
then-
state aid funded.
The state aid. Okay, so then next year it will be in there too, right? Okay.
It's funded through the aid.
Okay. I didn't realize it was all from the aid. Okay, thank you.
Okay, appointments next is L4, transfer reassignment, L5, personnel items, L6, press aid certification stipend, L7, reappointments, revisions, L8, substitute student placement, L9, leave of absence, L10, curriculum and instruction, L11, student services, L12, job descriptions.
I have a question about the job description. The first one. The second one, strategic communication specialist. We're going to edit that a little bit, the beginning, the Princeton Public School expectations.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, I lost my spot. L13, settlement agreement with PAA. Moving on, M1, educational service, Chabad Jewish Center. Can I ask, it's a pass-through? Thank you.
Is that right, Matt? This is a pass.
Yes.
Thank you. M2, student day field trips. M3, the student overnight trip. That is the team PEP, which I think is overnight trip, right? Which is coming back after COVID for the first time. That's wonderful. Thank you, Princeton High School. See, but now they changed board docs, so if I go look at something, then I lose my spot. So if we could provide feedback. The next, I mean, I could turn around too. M4 grant application amendment. M5 preschool private provider contracts. M6 changed to the 2023-24 program of studies. And we're adding innovation engineering.
We are adding, can somebody speak to this maybe?
Yes,
Dr.
I was just
This-
speaking to it.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
It says in the public content, innovation engineering is advanced topic in physics. Dr. Joy Barnes-Johnson came to student achievement, and then I will let Betsy Baglio.
Just the flexibility it allows to have it be 2 semesters. Students could elect to take 1 or both semesters rather than a full term course. So it's the same, right? Same teaching staff, Dr. Tu, but potentially even more students accessing the class because some may not have room for a full year.
Great.
But they might be able to take a semester.
Okay.
It's a great course, and we want to kind of be project-based, and we want more students at capacity in class so that the class can run.
Okay, thank you.
Next is N1, educational placement of students, of pupils, sorry. O1, financial report is an action item. Can I get a motion, please? Beth, second. Brian?
Daphne Kendall,
Abstain?
Betsy Baglio,
Yes.
Beth Barron, Debbie Bronfeld,
Yes.
Jean Durbin,
Yes.
Mara Franceschi,
Yes.
Susan Cantor,
Yes.
Brian McDonald,
Yes.
Rob Christopher.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. O2, fire and evacuation drills. O3 is the food service management company renewal. As Betsy said in her student achievement report, this is for the 5th year of a 5-year contract. We've received many emails from many parents concerned about our school lunch program. And so we have a year to decide if we're going to continue with this vendor or if we're going to choose another vendor. And it will be discussed both in the operations committee because it's a contract, it's price, and it will be discussed in student achievement. As Betsy said, food and what kids are eating is very important to how they learn in school. And so we want to continue that connection.
Can I also just comment though, we don't get many people that bid, right? So we're stuck in way, not stuck, but we're limited in what we can kind of do. Right?
We will be proactive, and however 5 years is the maximum in government for any contract. And they vary between 1 to 5 years, but this has to be put out to RFP. So we'll just be proactive, and we'll try to attract the best possible people.
Jean?
Thanks. And if I, as a parent, could just put in a plug for creative options like, the satellite stands, grab and go, where people don't have to go to the cafeteria and stand in line, but there might be options for them to grab food at various parts of the building, particularly in the high school. I don't know if that can be part of the RFP or not, but what are your creative solutions for distributing food so kids can grab it on the go?
That's a great idea.
Thanks.
So actually, I just found this out today. I was just it was completely random. Sorry. It was completely random, but someone was giving a tour of the school, and there is a sort of a satellite stand like that. But apparently it doesn't take free and reduced lunch.
Right.
So yeah. So then it I just thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's because the free and reduced lunch is a very specific meal. But that's something that we should look into to see what else would qualify. Anyone else? All right. Lost my spot again.
4.
The school, yes, but it goes all the way up. So 04, school breakfast lunch prices, they're going to increase by 5 cents, and that's the NutriServe doing that. Is that right? Or are we increasing the price?
I mean, it's a pass-through. They're our food service
Yeah.
management company.
So-
We're required to increase them by 5 cents,
Yeah.
which was less than most districts, but because of inflationary pressures.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Then we have 05 spring bus safety drills, 06 shared service agreement with Montgomery Township for bus maintenance. Thank you, Mr. Bolden. 07, ESCNJ Transportation Agreement. 8, bid award, PHS facade restoration. That's very exciting. 9, oh, this has to be an action item, right? Because it's NJSIG. Why not?
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold on. I'll just read the
Oh,
roll
can I get a
call.
motion? Rob, Jean,
Great. Daphne Kendall,
abstain.
Betsy Baglio,
Yes.
Beth Barron,
Yeah.
Debbie Bronfeld,
Yes.
Jean Durbin,
Yes.
Mara Franceschi,
Yes.
Susan Cantor,
Yes.
Brian McDonald,
Yes.
Rob Christopher.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Bolden. I apologize for not calling that out sooner. 010 is registration travel agenda. 11 is competitive contract award before after services right at school. Dr. Tu, can I just put you on the spot for a minute? Just ask you.
I wasn't part of the committee.
But do you know, are we going to get better benefits for the kids? Is it longer hours?
That's what it sounds like.
Yep.
It seems like there's lessons involved, right, Matt? Like music's involved, language is involved. They can serve pre-K, which some of the local vendors could not serve. And as we're expanding pre-K, that's really important to us that they can serve our preschoolers. So that's what I've heard through the grapevine. Okay.
All right, thank you. 012, purchase of pre-K supplies and equipment over bid threshold, and 013, cooperative purchasing memberships. Do I need to stay out of that one? No? Okay. And so now we're moving on. Oh, I think we want to do public comment again before we do the consent agenda. Does anyone want to speak to us? No? No comment? No? No. Okay. Well, I just wanted to check. All right. And now we'll move on to item P1, which is approve the consent agenda items. Can I get a motion, please? Jean, second. Betsy.
Daphne Kendall,
Yes.
Betsy Baglio,
Yes.
Beth Barron,
Yes.
Debbie Bronfeld,
Yes.
Jean Durbin,
Yes.
Mara Franceschi,
Yes.
Susan Cantor,
Yes.
Brian McDonald,
Yes.
Rob Christopher.
Yes.
Consent agenda passes.
All right. Thank you. So it looks like it's going to be early night at 30. You're welcome. This board is quite the hardworking board, and as a community member and taxpayer, I'm grateful for the professionalism that you all have shown, and an early night is well deserved. Our next meeting is the 13th of June, and we'll decide whether, I think we're probably going to do it in person here to celebrate you in person. Pandemic's over, we should get back together. And with that, can I get a motion to adjourn? Rob, second. Brian, all in favor? Have a good night.